Oh, by the way, I read an Alanis Morissette interview the other day.
Mm-hmm.
Don't ask me why. And in it, she used the word ironic, and it was...
Did she use it properly?
No. Not at all.
Still.
And no, but this was a quote from I was actually trying to get to the bottom of, is Dave Coulier the guy from the song You Oughta Know? Because that's the rumor.
And he is. I've seen that somewhere that I feel confident.
Okay.
And on a list of things we were going to discuss tonight.
Well,
this was not on there.
I went on Snopes. Well, because we talk about the impetus for the podcast, which is, hey, I want to... There's no reason I shouldn't know what... raining cats and dogs means. Daggone it. We have the internet. I'm going to take a minute and I'm going to figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
Well, also on that list apparently is who is Alanis Morissette actually talking about? Because I'm going, okay, hold on. There's so many urban legends and myths that, I believed when I was a kid, right?
Right.
There's one about, we won't go into depth, but they're all like rated R, but there's one about, Richard Gere. There's one about Rod Stewart. There's all these ones, and
right.
You know the Rod Stewart one.
Oh, I know, but
okay.
I don't see how Dave Coulier plays into that. He wasn't guzzling anything, or was he?
Well, my point is, those are extremes, but I believed the Rod Stewart thing. I believed I still kind of believe the Richard Gere thing, but my point is, I was like, wait, I heard that Dave Coulier was the guy, and I'm going, you know what? It's the same thing like Marilyn Manson and Kevin, or whatever the kid from the Wonder Years are the same person. So I went on Snopes, and turns out they don't know for sure. Alanis will never tell. So I'm reading her interviews, and my big takeaway was, it is. I do think it also is Dave Coulier.
Yeah.
But they said it could have been Bob Saget, and it could have been.
But Bob Saget's not Canadian. I thought Dave Coulier's Canadian.
Correct.
Not in a euphemistic way.
Yeah, and I never would have thought Bob Saget either. But they were saying they had put, but. Again, if that's your best next guess, then it's definitely Coulier.
I like the recent unexpected downfall of the moral downfall of the Full House cast.
Wow, you're right.
They've just the Dave Coulier thing's been out there for forever, but I guess Aunt Becky.
Yeah.
What I do like about that is it's something that I think can unite everybody, left or right, black or white, up or down, whatever it is. You can kind of unite against these people being toolboxes. And
is there really a huge defense for Aunt Becky?
I think the thing that got me was her daughter is somehow a Instagram influencer and was one of these people that somehow has decent income coming through that. And one of the things that she advertised was through Amazon, all the stuff she bought for her dorm room.
Oh gosh.
That it was concluded with thank you Amazon for sponsoring all this stuff.
We're living in a weird time because I had never heard about the fact that her daughter was like an Instagram model, and oh my gosh,
I believe it's influencer is the
an Instagram model can be an influencer.
Okay,
it's
not a mutually exclusive.
No. So I think she's okay. Good point. I don't think she does because she did modeling campaigns. I think for because they said it was a Nordstrom or somebody pulled her. Mm-hmm. Anyway, I didn't know she existed.
Right.
But we're living in an ecosystem where she can exist, and I'm plugged in. I know a lot of stuff just because I'm curious. I didn't know. I had never heard of her. How have I not heard of this?
Because you have a job and you have a family.
Yeah, that's true. But I still somehow managed to know a lot of stuff that I wish I didn't know. But anyway, so. Yeah, are you outraged by the whole situation with the college thing? What's your take on it?
I don't think I have time to be outraged. It doesn't make me. I think it actually is ironic that a bunch of liberal people who probably complain about people getting hosed over in the system or the patriarchy or the man keeping them out, and they're literally keeping people out of college because they're dumb kids. They have to bribe their way in. Because
they showed this video of the daughter who I just remember there's Jade is somehow, her name is Jade something or something Jade,
Right.
which is just so funny.
Right.
But
You know, if she's going to be a doctor with a name like that.
yeah, like either way,
What
that
are
was
you
your
going to do about the tumor? Well, Dr. Jade will be here to explain it to you.
Can you imagine? So either Jade was a God-given name or if she chose it. Either way, it's, anyway, what?
But Uncle Jesse
Yeah.
is still unsoiled, or has John Stamos been
Oh,
compromised?
you're right. Stamos? Oh, man. Is there a Me Too out there?
There's a hashtag Me Too.
There is.
About from Charles in Charge? No, is that somebody else?
There's something, because he addressed it. I want to say I remember he addressed it, but it was like in a funny way. Like he made light of it, which should make it worse. But I don't remember the situation.
Yeah, and I don't really care.
But,
he was in the Kokomo video with the Beach Boys.
Right.
So that
With the guy that wore the Beach Boys hat, which is a Mike Love or one of the fact he wears his hat.
I don't think that doesn't necessarily offset a hashtag Me Too situation. But
that's a good point.
again, Bob Saget, though, I think stands tall.
Well, and the great thing is Saget was the one that back in the day everybody was like, he's a dirty comedian. Like this is not his thing, which I always love people to get cast in shows and play a part and everyone thinks of them as that part. Then, I mean, he may be the ultimate example, but
I don't know. Ice Cube in family films still.
That's a great example too. Yeah.
Makes me laugh.
Yeah, for sure.
That's the only thing about it makes me laugh. Well, Uncle Jesse, I've been trying to figure out what he done. But just like we were talking about Rockman, he's probably done something, to be honest. Hanging out with the Beach Boys, something probably happened. And
yeah. All right. Well, welcome to Origin of Speaksies. My name is Scott. I'm here, as always, alongside my buddy Steve, and we have got a great show for you. We're going to be talking about horse idioms.
Horse idioms.
And this is a Steve researched episode. So, Steve, take us away.
Be full of facts and plenty of ums and mouth pauses as I overthink things. So, to start off with horse idioms, we're not going to do this one, but there's a little bit of a Trojan horse because I did want to use an excuse to talk about animals. Mm-hmm. We got to talk about bears.
Yes.
Because it's springtime, bears are coming out of hibernation.
Yeah.
People aren't prepared, and new listeners might not be aware of how much I'm always on the lookout for bears. And I try to take all of my fear, my family's fear, and compare it to, if you're going through something, well, is a bear involved?
Right.
What should you really be scared of? Which everyone should, is bears. So it's springtime. They're coming out of hibernation. I'm concerned my wife and daughter will be traveling to North Carolina for spring break here shortly.
Is that bear country or?
Yeah. So they're out in the mountains in western North Carolina. So they have to deal with bears, strong potential of Sasquatches.
Yeah.
They'll have to deal with people from North Carolina. So there's a lot of things they need to be worried about, but a bunch of jacked up bears coming out of hibernation, probably going through Mountain Dew withdrawal.
I was about to say those North Carolina bears are doing the do. They are.
They're doing the do.
Yeah. And what else is coming out? I mean, raccoons are raccoons kind of year round though, man. They don't care. They're going to show up anywhere.
If you avoid garbage and avoid being out late, you're okay.
Well,
but anyway, just a reminder before we start talking about horses, which they're not bears and they're not alligators.
Well, that's what I was going to say though. Let's talk about this because horses. This was your idea. You were definitely hot to trot for the horse talk,
which is not one we're going to do.
Nope. But
so the impetus was actually I had a conversation recently with a millennial I'd call him a cherished millennial. He was a millennial that steered me in the direction of my current barber.
Okay.
So he
can't be all bad.
He actually does literally eat goldfish in front of other people, and I've told him not to do that, and he doesn't care. But he doesn't have a juice box. But anyway.
Oh.
Good millennial. I mean, he's my cherished millennial. So we were talking about something recently, and I actually said to him, well, I don't want to look a gift horse in the mouth.
Right.
And he actually said, what does that mean?
Oh. God.
And I took a moment of pause because I know what it means. Essentially, don't be ungrateful or don't take for granted something you've been given.
Right.
But it intrigued me to the roots of it. So first one I want to look at is don't look a gift horse in the mouth. So is that a phrase you use?
Absolutely, yeah. Use it. One of the ones like your cherished millennial. I didn't know what it meant for the longest time. I've done no research on this, and I think one day thinking about it, I go, oh, Oh, okay. So if somebody gives you a horse, you don't inspect it. Sort of like if somebody gives you a new car, and you're like, hold on, let's go through and make sure everything's working. It's like, this was a gift. Just take
Right.
it. But so I do use it. No clue as to the origins.
So you've hit on kind of what it gets at there. So I think one of the key things is it's a gift. You're not paying for it, so you really don't have the right to inspect things.
Right.
And looking at gift horse in the mouth, what you would do when you got a horse, if someone said, "Hey, here's a 2-year-old horse for you,"
Right.
You'd look at the teeth to see the
so that's
the gum
why it's the
recession.
teeth.
Yeah. So it's also
Okay.
you'd look at the teeth to see how the gums have receded.
Got it.
And which also the expression "long the tooth"
Oh,
related
interesting.
comes from
Okay.
that. So
yeah, because I would have thought more. Don't look a gift horse in the hoof or something. You know what I mean? Like where would this come from? But so that is something that, and horses do have big old teeth.
yeah.
So you
Someone
can tell
might
a
have
lot.
tried to look at the hoof, but that also could have ended with someone not having any more teeth in their own mouth.
Yeah,
after
true.
they've done that too.
Right, because you can always give a little sugar or an apple or carrot. All things I've never done because I'm kind of scared of horses.
Right.
But certainly you can't go downstairs checking out the hoof unless you know what you're doing. But either way, you don't want to do any of that.
Yeah. So one of the things, this phrase is something we all seem to use. It's kind of obvious once you hear, the reason why people say it. So it's not that, but we're not stopping there.
Okay.
What I liked about this was looking up the origin of it and just some of the journey that the phrase took.
Nice.
To get here. I found it very exciting.
Take us on a journey, Steve.
So prepare to take a journey with me. The phrase first appears in English in 1546 as "don't look a given horse in the mouth," by a gentleman named John Heywood. Now, have you ever heard of John Heywood
I don't
before?
think so.
Okay, good. He is somebody that I've discovered through this and quite an intriguing person. So
is he going to be like a big hitter, you think? Or
I don't want to oversell it. We're talking Guy Fieri big.
oh my,
So your life is going
that's
to
a
be
lot to live
different.
up to.
I know. So to give you an example of what he is, how big he is, this phrase appeared in English first time 1546 as "don't look a given horse in the mouth"
Right.
in his book entitled "A Dialogue Containing the Number and Effect of All the Proverbs in the English Tongue."
that's out of bounds.
That is a very, very unedited long time.
It's a mouthful.
And it's also spelled in the old English way that looks like,
Right.
like when your kids start trying to spell big words for the first time,
Right.
and they look like they've just newly immigrated to America and
Right.
have been drinking. That's what it kind of looks like.
Which
So,
probably happened a lot.
yeah. So that's one phrase that he's given credit for. And where
Okay.
he got that from, it's speculated that he obtained the phrase from the Latin text of St. Jerome's translation of the letter to the Ephesians,
Okay.
which was made circa 400, which contains the following text: "Noli eque dentes inspicere donate." Michael Francis Rizzi, do you renounce Satan and all his works? Trying to get still don't have my Latin priest voice down, but
It's an improvement from the last one for sure.
I'm getting there. That was more robot than old Chinese man, which was last time. The term that I've butchered in Latin is actually "never inspect the teeth of a given horse."
And so this was from from Ephesians.
The letter, St. Jerome's translation of the letter to the Ephesians, that
Okay.
he did around AD 400. I don't know where I was able to find. I don't think that's from Ephesians.
Oh, I
guess
gotcha.
it's like his prologue.
Oh,
of,
okay. It's like his notes or his.
yeah, or when he sent it to Saint whomever was there. So back to John Heywood.
Yeah.
Who again, his book, "A Dialogue Containing the Number and Effect of All the Proverbs in the English Tongue,"
Wow.
is a very long title. Talked about Alanis Morissette earlier. That sounds like one of her.
Yeah.
Was it her that had the? No, I'm thinking Fiona Apple.
You're thinking of
had
Fiona Apple, but
Yeah.
Alanis had one too. Supposed former infatuation junkie, which is hard to say. But then Fiona had "Win the Pawn."
breaks.
Yeah, it's like
dot.
Exactly,
Yeah.
it's just
One
"Win the
over there.
Pawn," but it's about a million different other words.
John Heywood was active at the court of both Henry VIII as a singer and player of the virginals, which is what they called the types of songs he did. And it was a master of acting boy group of singers, and also worked under Mary I. So he was Catholic, But even when Elizabeth became queen, he was still around. I think, in modern days, the tension between Catholics and Protestants is not as intense as it was back then, when it was probably the highest point, where people were losing heads over that. So he did, he was able to kind of work with both groups there. But many other phrases that I was surprised. And I think later down the road, we might actually have to have a John Heywood episode.
Okay.
So I'm going to throw some at you that he's done.
I'm excited.
Some are winners.
Yeah.
Some are losers. That is not a phrase that he did. So, haste makes waste.
Winner. Hold on. I thought Ben Franklin came up with that.
In 1546.
Wow.
Haste maketh waste actually was his version of it. So Ben Franklin improved on it. 2 heads are better than 1.
What?
Mm-hmm.
That's a good one.
All's well that ends well.
Nice.
Okay. Those are some of the winners. I know I could sit here and read lists.
No, that's those are really good ones. Those are ones that we all they've lasted throughout the years, sort of like as you alluded to earlier, Out of Bounds and boy, what are some of the other Fieri ones I forgot? But basically, I'm disproving my point here. But
some that maybe aren't as good, in my opinion.
Okay.
When he should get aught, each finger is a thumb.
Oh my.
The fat is in the fire. Love me, love my dog. Which sounds like a sitcom I wouldn't want to watch.
It sounds like a Lost Spice Girls song.
Yeah. But again, a lot of other phrases, and I am holding back on things that we have because he's...
Yeah.
No, I got to hit you with a couple more.
Please.
Rome wasn't built in a day.
Well, that's a good one.
Yeah. John Heywood.
Wow. He is a big hitter. So wait, the
more the merrier.
I have
John
not
Heywood.
heard of that one.
Yeah. You've never heard the more the merrier?
I'm just kidding. No.
Okay. Especially when we're out LARPing.
Yeah.
So, John Heywood. Don't look at gift horse in the mouth.
Yeah.
Probably started with St. Jerome.
Okay.
John Heywood used it in 1546.
Love it.
He worked for Catholics and Protestants and had his head attached to his body, and also made beggars should be no choosers.
Really?
Yeah, John Heywood. So, good job for him. So,
yeah.
To conclude this idiom, I want to hit it's something that is kind of out there in the ether, a lot in the vernacular, very popular. Mm-hmm. Other countries actually use this. So, in German, I can't say that.
Germany and bears.
Yeah. I got to work on my German accent. I don't have that. But in Spanish, I think I can say it in my Telemundo voice.
Please.
E caballo, reglado. Nope, not even close. What was that? I have a good Telemundo voice. That wasn't it.
No, you know what it did? It did sound like the Telemundo, like when they're saying the next show that's going to come up.
That's what I'm trying to get, but I got to say, Telemundo. There we go. E caballo, reglado. No sila miran los tenentes. Telemundo. There we go. I got the bass end.
You got that.
It's also in German, which I can't do, and it's also there's one in Welsh, which I will just show you how it's spelled.
Yeah, lot of weird.
Where it starts with the C. It looks like someone had a stroke.
Holy cow!
Right?
Yeah.
And maybe they were.
Yeah, I just had a seizure. Yeah.
And if my Welsh hating friend was here, I wish he would be.
He'd have some smack to talk about that.
So don't look at gift horse in the mouth, which is good.
I like it. Good stuff. Okay, so the best part of that was found John Heywood. Yeah. I mean, wow. Can't believe he hasn't come up yet.
I wonder if he spent his spare time going to different diners in the 16th century.
When you said Guy Fieri, I'm thinking, well, it's a tall order there, buddy. But there are some similarities. He was an entertainer. A lot of people probably didn't like him because he was very Catholic in a time where it was hard to be Catholic, depending on who you were around, just like a lot of people have hate for Guy. So, all right, man, I hope we get more. And let me just say, John Heywood, right?
John Heywood.
Okay. Every time I hear the last name Heywood, I think of a Saturday Night Live sketch. Mm-hmm. Do you remember the one where they just did a cold open? And I don't know if it was cold open or it was just a sketch. The graduation one where they're reading all the names and it's like every name is a double entendre. So I'll let you figure out what Heywood Let's just say his last name. Actually, I'll just say his last name was Jablomi. So that's pretty. Can't hear Heywood without hearing.
So for some reason, I kept thinking of Fred Rerun Barry.
Oh, okay.
When I would hear that, and I just looked up why, and I was honestly like, "Why am I
Yeah.
thinking of Now, first of all, I generally think of Fred Rerun Barry, and when we're
He's
especially when
chambered.
when we're doing idioms, he's always
Yeah.
back there. But
Yeah, Dynamite, right? No,
his-
I'm kidding. I know that's not.
it's okay. But there was an actor on the show, Heywood Nelson, who played Dwayne Nelson.
Oh, Dwayne the one that did Hey.
That is him.
Okay, there you go.
Well, good. Well, we've gone
That's
from
it.
we've gone from John Heywood to
Hey.
Yeah.
All right. Wow. I think I liked your Telemundo voice better. Do hey.
no. It's gonna sound like.
All right, cool. So
All right, moving on.
Moving on.
So the next one is hold your horses.
Yes, hold your horses.
Hold your horses.
Now, the first thing I think of, and if I'm stepping on anything you're going into, let me know. But this is one of the PETA unfriendly ones. Do you remember that? You're not supposed to say "hold your horses."
What were you supposed to say instead?
Something dumb. I don't remember.
Yeah.
Well, because it wasn't, to me, it wasn't the most annoying one, but it was the most
That's tough
like
when you're doing
unnecessary one. No, because it was like they're all unnecessary. But I can understand if you don't want to kill two birds with a stone. But as soon as I heard it, I remember myself saying, "What's wrong with holding horses? There's nothing wrong." So we're gonna find out the actual origin of hold your horses.
Hold your horses. So this is one that I use, and I think of this more of almost like a mom one. Like I can hear my mom. I can hear like everybody's mom.
Like the word "bucko" should get tacked onto the end. Yeah.
And kind of in that shenanigans sort of way.
Yes.
Hold your horses, Mister.
Yeah, Mr.
Something
Bucko.
like that.
Yeah.
So going back, it was speculated that it came from the Iliad. But I went back, and someone else had done a good job of taking the section and reviewing the different translations that have gone through.
Okay.
So looking back at other authors who have translated it, it's come out as stay your horses, hold, stay your steeds, stop, check thy steeds.
Ooh, I like that one.
Rein your coursers in, which I like because
I like that one too.
That sounds a little dirty.
Yeah.
And
well, so does stop, check your steed. It sounds like a 1980s like hit by, what was it, like relax, don't do it. It'd be like stop, check your steed before you do it.
There you go.
Could be, right?
Well, if Frankie goes to Hollywood, he's a comeback.
Yeah.
You might have given it. You might be the seed from which a mighty homosexual oak will grow.
God, I hope so.
So initially, I thought this was cool because it went back to the Iliad. Apparently, it does not. Even though I'm still going to pretend that it does.
Yeah.
However, the roots of it are still kind of exciting because it comes back to America. So
okay, cool.
It seems that the origin of this goes back to the United States, originating as "hold your hosses,"
Ooh.
which I didn't say very well because I think
hoss like
hoss. There we go. You got to put some bass on. I said, "Hold your hosses." Hold your horses.
How do you say it like a sassy Southern belle? You hold your horses.
Bogart, I'm not going with you to that ball. You hold your horses.
Oh, Beauregard, yes.
He's back.
Beauregard,
hold your horses. That sounds
Gosh,
better.
I've been waiting for
Telemundo.
I've been waiting for Beauregard to make a comeback. So, hold on now. Hold your horses there,
Yeah.
Bucko. Hold your hosses. Are they
Hosses.
spelling it? So is it actually a different word, or is that just a
As
dialectical?
horses were referred to often just as hoss.
Okay.
So that came up a lot, and there's multiple uses of this.
So what was the, before you get into that, we need to just acknowledge real quick when you talk about hoss. I mean, was it Gunsmoke? What was the one on the Ponderosa? Let's see. Bonanza. Hoss and Little Joe. Did you watch that show?
I did.
Yeah.
Because cartoons would end, and I was too lazy. This is when you had to get up and change the channel. I would pretty much watch whatever came on.
Well, in fairness, there was 2 channels, but you were going to get, first of all, that's how I got into Little House, was same thing. Cartoons are over, Little House is on, and the music. Yes, I'm putting a clip of the music in to the beginning of Little House. You'll Get Swept Away.
It's good.
Oh,
It's
so
get
good.
swept away at that show. Because Michael Landon's hair is glorious.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
Because he went from Little Joe to at some point, I'm going to have... I mean, I don't even know what you'd call that hair. I mean, it's magnificent, but it's not like 80s kind of puffed up.
No, I can picture it. I don't know. I'm speechless, actually, because I don't know how to describe it.
But honestly, and maybe that's how he got Highway to Heaven. Maybe it's angelic. I mean, his hair it's something to behold.
I see how you skipped right over Little House there, because we somehow just talked about three Michael Landon shows.
Yeah.
Michael Landon, was there a more wholesome dude? Other than like Mr. Rogers or Bob Ross, nothing ever came out bad about him. He was a great guy, and he just had that face, like that Pa Ingalls smile, where he's kind of like the lips are kind of pursed while he's smiling, and you just feel all warm inside. And then you got to say, what is it, gentlemen, hold your steed, or whatever. Yeah. But I miss Michael Landon, man.
Well, he was married 3 times, so maybe there's two women that might disagree with.
Well, it's probably not his fault. I don't see.
Yeah. They're probably jealous of his hair.
Yeah.
That's tough to compete with that. There's not enough conditioner to make your hair look as good as his.
The Highway to Heaven hair was trash. The Ponderosa hair was the more I think about it, it's almost like if you took a male doll, but not even like a Ken doll, it just doesn't seem real. It seems very fake. But so anyway, you were talking about somehow we got on to Hoss. Well, you brought up Hoss, and Hoss was hold your hosses.
So that was a U.S. slang for horse, and it shows up multiple times when it's used. So one of the first uses that really got it into the general vernacular was a play by David Humphreys called The Yankee in England. It came out in 1814.
Okay.
And David Humphreys is not another John Heywood.
No.
So sorry if I've built that up.
No, he's more of just a one and done.
So
like he goes to Hollywood.
So, well, I don't know if you one and done with that song. If you ever listen to it again, you don't want to say that. But anyway,
Stop, hold your steed.
Yankee in England.
Yes.
Was pretty influential. The stage character of the Yankee was a prominent character apparently in comedies back in that time.
Well, and maybe you're about to talk about this, the Connecticut Yankee in King Arthur's Court, which I'm sure was subsequent to this.
Yeah. But. So the traditional use of it, or the more familiar phrase, we see comes in 1939 in I would hope that this was from the publishers of London Magazine, Ladies Magazine. I think what was another one, New England Magazine.
Yeah, London. You said London Magazine, right? Yeah.
And this one's a little bit better named. It's Chantilly. But it was a Canadian ladies magazine.
Okay, so this one it actually had a more. I mean, I don't know what a Chantilly is, but
it's not called Canadian Lady Magazine. So they've gotten to the point of people decided, let's not name the magazine to who we're trying to market, or to whom.
People, let's just pause for a minute. People didn't know how to name stuff because there's all these ones that are just London Women's Magazine. Then you had who's the circus guy, an autobiography written by himself or whatever the redundant one. But now that I think about it, we did bring up Fiona Apple earlier. So
yeah, but in all seriousness, the reason they probably did that was now you go to the store. Yeah. There's multiple ladies magazines. Yeah. Back then, it probably was ladies magazine.
Absolutely.
You didn't have a choice. That's the magazine you're taking it home.
Well, just like when, back in the day, man, Ron Burgundy, you just watched the news. It was the news. Now you got everything to choose from. I miss the old Ron Burgundy days, but
yeah.
Okay.
So Hold Your Horses starts with thought it started in the Iliad.
Right.
Disappoints you that it doesn't.
No.
But our moms use it. It comes back to America. It gave us a chance to use the word hoss. Yeah. Which I think would be a good one. It's not it's not up there with Cut of Your Jib or Loaded for Bear and things I want to bring back.
Right.
But you get called hoss.
No, hoss is a good one. I like it a lot.
Yeah.
That's something you can call. I feel like it got beat out by calling people chief or things like that, but hoss is a good one to throw out there. Call somebody hoss, especially a big boy, big guy. or the ironic small guy, or the small guy you ironically call hoss.
Yeah.
All right, good stuff.
So, last horse-themed one.
Yes.
And I wasn't sure. There's a lot of horse-themed idioms out there.
Right.
And if anyone wants to request ones that we've missed, you'd need to have more time spent doing other things.
Yeah.
To conclude, the last one I'm going to use is horse feathers.
Yeah, so I was interested because I've heard of horse feathers,
right?
But only with the Marx Brothers.
Yeah.
So, but I don't know of it being used idiomatically. So, looking forward to hearing about.
So this is one that I don't use that often. I've heard it. I want to say I've used it in situations, and you can relate to this as a father, that when your children show up, you will find certain words coming out of your mouth, and you will bend it into other words. Yeah. And I'm fairly certain that watching football games or driving in traffic or seeing someone buy kale at a store, that I've wanted to shout profanity, and maybe horse feathers is something.
That's a good one.
That's come up to it.
It's kind of like the Christmas story.
Yeah.
Fudge.
It is, and related to that, some people think that horse feathers is kind of a cleaner way to say horse.
Like
horse
poo-poo.
Poo. Yes,
okay.
Poo-poo. Keeping with our dad theme here, we actually said poo-poo multiple times.
Yeah.
So so horse feathers basically is another way to say.
Okay. I can see that.
Yeah.
And it even as you were, because I was racking my brain here going, I don't know why you would use it. And I just sort of in my head was going, horse feathers.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's what it is. You don't want to say, yeah.
Yeah. And it's also it's kind of like a nonsense sort of.
I remember.
It's another way to say nonsense or.
Yeah. I remember we had a basketball coach back in middle school, high school. And he would often kind of make things up because he wanted to swear. He knew he did.
Right.
Which, by the way, that's been my go-to lately. I don't know where you are with what you call, like I used to call them cuss words. And then cussing, I started saying cuss because, I don't know, there's something kind of that felt, I don't know, as, Reagan explained what a pleb was. Just felt like cuss is just something you say, like a country thing or something. Yeah. So I started saying...
it's not as cultured.
Swear is kind of my go-to now for that. There's other ones you can say. But do you have a preferred profanity? You can say profanity, but that's not a verb.
I'm trying to think of we're still in that stage. We don't want to make certain words forbidden fruit, especially words that my kid has heard 100 times as I've driven around the car.
Well, that's true, too. Yeah.
But anyway... less about me, more about where this came from. So there is someone else that came up that I was surprised that is. I don't want to throw around Guy Fieri, but this person, because I don't like some of the other art that this person did, and we'll get into that more. So a comic strip artist by the name of Billy DeBeck, was popular in the 1920s. Is actually responsible for several other kind of catchphrases and idioms that came out of it. And I'll get back to those in a second. But he's also responsible for one of my least favorite Sunday newspaper cartoon strips, Snuffy Smith.
Snuffy Smith.
Yeah.
Gosh, I don't know anything about Snuffy Smith.
If you saw a picture,
I thought you were going to say Kathy.
No. Ack. At least they gave us that.
Right.
That's another one. Actually, that's another one. There's just... All right, so I imagine people don't do this anymore, but when you were a kid, you got the Sunday paper, and there were the comic strips you liked. You liked Garfield, you liked Peanuts.
Garfield, Peanuts, eventually Far Side. But...
but then there was just the ones that I didn't understand were there. Kathy, now at least I can see there's something for it, but there was like Rex Morgan, MD.
Oh, that is tragic.
And like
that one
Prince Valiant.
Well, yeah, those were... But those... were in a different category, and they were like soap opera-y. But then what was the one that was like, I don't know, like a sergeant or a private? It was some military.
Beetle Bailey.
Beetle Bailey, yeah. I don't remember it being very funny. So yeah, but I think where you're going to was this is back when the competition maybe wasn't the same. Not to say I'm sure it was competitive to get into syndication as a comic strip artist, but you weren't competing with all the other forms of entertainment, so you could get away with a few years of subpar Beetle Bailey.
Right.
And then there's that one That's like horrible because the guy's always beating his wife. It's like an Irish guy.
Oh, I remember that one.
Oh my gosh, go back or don't. But like, there was an article I want to say in like AV Club or somewhere where it was like, how did this survive for so long? And the guy's an alcoholic that just comes home drunk and beats his wife. Like that's the joke. Like that's the punchline.
Right.
I'm going to pretend I remember what the name is, and I'm not going
Yeah.
to say it because I don't want to, but I actually don't remember what it's called. So,
we'll be all right.
So anyway, so this was a comic strip guy.
Right. So he originated a comic strip called Barney Google and Snuffy Smith. And Barney
Lord.
Barney Google was the original character that kind of dominated it, but it was eventually phased out. And then Snuffy Smith took over. So Barney Google was a rich guy with a top hat, chomped on a cigar. Think the Monopoly guy.
Yeah.
Kind of like that.
Okay.
And Snuffy Smith was some hillbilly that he ran into at some point.
Yeah.
And I'm not throwing out the term hillbilly. The guy was presented as a hillbilly.
Right. So Snuffy would cuss, and then Barney would swear.
Yeah.
Is what you're saying.
That's actually a very good point.
Thank you.
So again, one of those comic strips that I still don't see the point of.
Right.
But that is actually, as much garbage as I've just talked about that, it still runs.
It still runs.
It still presently
Wow.
runs. So it started in June 17th, 1919, and still continues to run. So
How is that possible?
I have no idea how this works.
I will say-
I mean, that's a good gig. Like, I'm bashing this, but good for that guy. I'm not going to do it, 90 years from now. Maybe we will. Maybe we'll be on the moon somewhere with
Yeah.
our half robot bodies, still talking about stuff.
Quick sidebar on old comics that we can keep or not. I'm actually just genuinely curious on what your take on Peanuts is, because there's a very wide range of takes on
Okay,
Peanuts.
I am a huge Peanuts fan.
Good.
Like my kid has gotten into would do like I used to do and go to the library and get the books.
Yeah.
And-
Oh yeah, the big. Mm-hmm.
But what's amazing about them is the level that it's written at,
Yeah.
is the vocabulary, and it's not very direct.
Abstract, maybe?
Abstract. Thank you. Abstract's the word I'm looking for. It is not.
Yeah,
It's written for kids, but it's not written to talk down to kids. Like, you will be more intelligent after reading that. There's
Right.
a lot of abstract thought that you have to put into things to connect what's going on in those.
Totally agree, and I think if you don't like Peanuts because it's like you don't think it's funny enough, or you don't think it's like witty or smart, it's like you don't get it. It's
Yeah.
actually pretty funny,
Yeah.
and it is subtle and abstract.
And some of that gets lost. I think a lot of people now just know them through like the Christmas specials or Halloween specials or things like
Right.
that. But if you get a chance to read
Yeah.
the comic strips,
Yep.
they're tremendous.
Big Peanuts guy, and if you haven't seen, and I'm like you, I grew up reading the big books collections, and I love those. But a recommendation, if you haven't seen, is watch the Snoopy, the one where Snoopy's brothers come visit. It's freaking hilarious. I don't remember what it's like. Snoopy. It's not Snoopy Come Home.
I think it is.
Okay, maybe it is Snoopy
Yeah,
Come Home.
I've seen it.
It's so good. He goes and visit so his brothers. He's got the one.
He's got Spike.
Spike is the one that's got like the droopy whiskers, and then he gets fat in like 2 days because I don't remember which one it is. Not Peppermint Patty, but one of them. Lucy, I think, feeds him. Just feeds him and feeds him. Anyway, so just wanted to. We can separate Peanuts from some of these other trash comics.
So again, Billy DeBeck, who I, for some reason, really don't. I didn't realize how much I didn't like Snuffy Smith until I saw his other accomplishments, and still didn't do it for me. So he is credited with the first actual use of horse feathers. And here's some other phrases he's gotten into the vernacular: heebie-jeebies,
Ooh,
hotsy-totsy, balls of fire, time's a wastin', touched in the head, and bodacious.
okay.
So-
I'm taking that all in because that's such a.
It's a good range of stuff.
Varied
It's,
range
it's
of-
not Heywood-esque, but that's pretty good. And again,
It is pretty good.
The fact that something he started in 1917 is still running. So
Balls of Fire, and then that one.
Yeah.
Jerry Lee Lewis co-opted that one, I guess, and awesome.
my uncle did, but that had something to do with a trip to the Philippines. So to conclude, can't talk about horses without you and I, as anyone who's ever listened to this, are obviously very rugged, very outdoorsy.
Yeah.
Look like the brawny guy. sort of people. Have you ever ridden a horse before?
No, I'm not a guy that rides horses. Just like I don't ski. There's things I don't do.
That's because we were raised in the streets.
It is. And once you get to a certain point in your life, you just don't.
Yeah.
I probably should turn over a new leaf, but
no,
I'm not going to.
We're too old.
Just like we've talked about our like how we should never build anything together, and our moving mishaps.
Yeah. No.
The two of us riding horses is one of the worst ideas.
So the first time it's interesting to bring up skiing. The first time I ever rode a horse was also the first time I skied.
Oh, you did this all in one trip?
It did.
Are you okay? Were there bears involved? Was this when you were in Canada?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So there's a lot.
The fact that you survived this trip is
I know.
incredible.
I crammed basically all the outdoor adventure in my life into a few days there.
No, good for you.
So
I just laid around in Cancun. So.
Nothing like on your honeymoon to be emasculated by being terrified of bears, going face first in the snow, and Lord knows what I look like on back of that horse.
You did your equivalent of like a Bond film. You were there. You were like on skis, dodging bears, and then had to like jump onto a horse. Yeah. That's amazing.
The one thing I took away from riding a horse is if that horse didn't want you on him,
yeah.
I'm not stopping.
And I'm gonna go ahead and tell you right now, the horse is not gonna want me on it. So that's a given. He would book me off for sure.
So as we come away from this, always be aware of bears. What are you going to do about the tumor? Well, Dr. Jade will be here to explain it to you.